Hello and welcome back everyone to this live demo session on SAP Business Technology Platform training with me Anubhav on SAP Cloud Application Programming Model with S/4HANA Developer Extensibility on SAP BTP Cloud Platform. This Power Pack training of 40 hours is going to make you an expert on SAP BTP and going to address to all the technical needs you have today in your company with regard to SAP Business Technology Platform. It's a new live batch we are announcing from today onwards to make you an expert on SAP Business Technology Platform end to end, including design, development, packaging, deployment, transport, CI/CD, extensions, new innovations, new applications, and also the developer extensibility on S/4HANA. So let's get started with this demo. My name is Anubhav and I have total 18 years of experience in the field of SAP and on training. I've been training on different topics like UI5, Fiori, Gateway, Launchpad, OData, S4HANA, Cloud Workflow, BTP, Analytics Cloud, DataSphere are the few names. I will be your trainer for this journey on SAP Business Technology Platform, no matter which background or which knowledge you come from. It's my promise of no copy paste to make you a hero from zero on SAP BTP. So let's understand what is the agenda for this demo today. In our today's demo, we will start who is this training for, what is SAP BTP Cloud Foundry, along with a quick introduction of Cloud Application Programming Model, so-called CAPM. We will discuss then our demo use case for today, followed by some of the questions asked by many of you in the past over the email regarding this training, and finally a round of question and answers. Having said that, let's understand first who is this training for. So if you're working like Sumit, who is an ABAP developer, finding it very insecure at the moment in the company, yet want to develop himself and venture into the cloud technologies in the field of BTP, because everybody is talking about BTP around him, this training is for you. It will help you to deliver new innovations that natively integrate and also build on top of SAP S/4HANA, for example, and build side-by-side extensions using SAP BTP, keeping your core clean. If you are like Neha, who is any technical consultant, work faster with latest development tools like Business Application Studio and frameworks like Cloud Application Programming Model, want to venture into SAP Cloud space, this training is also going to help you. If you want to become a full stack BTP developer, because everybody around you are telling you to learn BTP, you would like to build end-to-end BTP applications, making sure managing the administration and security task on BTP, including the SAP HANA Cloud, Java and Node.js technology, then this training is also going to help you to become a BTP expert like Stevia. Or finally, you are a SAP basis administrator or an SAP administrator, would like to understand how the security in SAP Business Technology Platform works with regard to the general account, sub-account, dictionary, roles, application security, application CI/CD pipelines, and want to understand the connectivity basics with S/4HANA along with SAP Central Fiori Launchpad, which is now called Work Zone. This training is also going to help you out. In the next 40 hours of this journey, I'm going to take you all the core concepts starting from very scratch, very basic on SAP BTP. Moving on, let's try and understand a developer persona for today's use case. Meet Abraham, who is a 30-year-old IT expert, just like you and me, currently working in a software company. He is done an MS from computer science from one of the reputed institute and currently working as a technical SAP or non-SAP advocate in a company. Recently, Abraham is facing a challenge. The challenge number one he is facing regarding the sound which is coming from the outside world. Everybody is moving to BTP. SAP is preferring BTP as the main technical platform for building new application. Abraham is feeling alone that he will stay out of this game if he not upskill himself. So that's the first use case for Abraham to join this course. We will help him to upskill so that he can understand what BTP means and how it helps him to utilize the knowledge which he will gain in his projects. The second thing which is currently demanding that most of the projects are demanding these days the BTP skill, where you need to either build a entirely new solution on BTP or want to build a side-by-side extension using SAP Business Technology Platform by utilizing the open source technologies. Then this training is also going to help Abraham. So currently he possesses the skill of basic ERP, basic data structure, any one programming language experience and basics of SAP. If these are the four skills you also have in you, this training is for you certainly. Apart from this, I don't expect or I don't need any other knowledge. As I told you, every single minute detail and the basics will be spoon feeded to you in this training. His area of work is today currently S4 HANA or ABAP or any SAP solution. He's working as a solution architect or want to be a solution architect in the long future. This training is certainly going to help him. Moving on to his needs, today his needs are to design and architect systems which involve BTP. He would like to provide technical guidance to the manager and the teams as a solution architect on BTP solution and also want to build end-to-end solutions in the cloud for his company to innovate further. All of these cases, the training is going to help him. The final aim is to build end-to-end side-by-side extensions or new innovations, or also plan a strategy to move to BTP for his company. Definitely, this is the right place for Abraham to be. So if you can relate yourself with Abraham, certainly you are at the right place at right time. Moving on, let's understand what is BTP. So once again, here is Abraham who would like to now build a completely new application. Now, as a developer, what are the key things which you would need to build an application from scratch? The very first thing you need is basically an infrastructure. The infrastructure includes the hardware, the networking, storage, servers, and virtualization. That is essentially something like your laptop with a very good high configuration. On top of that, you would need something called platform. A platform include the operating system, the databases, the required middlewares and runtime. For example, if you want to run a piece of C programming code, you need to install C runtime, which is C compiler. Or you want to run a ABAP code, then you need to install SAP NetWeaver. That's the runtime. So on a similar way, you would need to set up all these things by yourself to get started with development. Then comes is the application and the code finally. So what happens here? You can see Abraham needs to focus on application and data and his coding, but to be able to reach there, he would need to pass through all this. That takes a lot of time today for a company. So the developer onboarding becomes really challenging, difficult, and time-taking task. And that's exactly the cloud comes into picture. As a cloud technology nowadays, it is possible to rent out a computer or an infrastructure directly online, which is called infrastructure as a service, where you can utilize the infrastructure and add up all these things on a rental basis. Just like you take a Netflix subscription on the cloud to watch movies and shows. Similarly, the platform or the things which you would need to run your application are also called part of platform. They can also be rented out. So basically for Abraham now, his focus is only application and data, and rest all the things are taken care by the vendors from where he rent out these things. So this is where the real benefit comes into picture when it comes to working with an application or building an application. So that's where we have infrastructure as a service, which provides the required hardware and infrastructure to build end-to-end applications. And that's where we have platform as a service, where platform vendor will provide you the necessary runtime and infrastructure to build application. And that's exactly where SAP BTP comes into picture. So if you look at SAP BTP, it's a fully ready landscape with reusable services offered to you as a developer or development team to get started with your development. You would not need to focus on infrastructure or platform because that is something which is provided by SAP out of the box. The benefits from the traditional approaches, you have scalability, which means today if your company build an application used by 100 developers and tomorrow you want the same application to be scaled up to be used by 10,000 developers, you can do it within minutes. Yes. So we will learn the horizontal and vertical scaling of application as part of this training end to end. Then you have elasticity. You can run any given point of time, many number of services, and you have a choice of technologies to choose. You can choose Node.js, Java, Python, ABAP, and different technologies of your choice. That gives you flexibility and elasticity when it comes to building your applications. And finally, you have a lower initial total cost of investment. So you would not need to go upfront and invest on heavy hardware and heavy runtimes or set up the complicated IT infrastructure to get started with the development. You would perhaps not even need a basis guy now to manage your infrastructure to get started with the development. It's all being taken care by SAP. So here the infrastructure will be provided by one of the infrastructure provider like Amazon, Microsoft Azure, or Google. Whereas on top of it, SAP offers their BTP platform to us. So essentially, if you look at SAP BTP is a platform as a service. So in interview, if somebody asks you what is BTP, it's a platform as a service for developers and development teams to quickly get started with their development without worrying the underlying platform required to build the applications. It provides runtime, middleware, services, database, and all the required infrastructure for you to build and manage your applications end to end. So as a developer, Abraham just has to focus on application and data. Isn't that amazing? So you decided to get started with the new development team in the morning, and right in the afternoon, your all developers are onboarded with a live system where they can start coding. Wow. That's where the real value add comes into picture. There are much more, but we will be talking about that in detail. But this is one perspective of SAP BTP. SAP BTP is much bigger and broader than that. So my next slide explains that about. So SAP BTP is a platform for companies to build, integrate, and extend their applications. You can build completely new applications, or you can also extend your existing application, for example, using side-by-side extensibility, using APIs, or you can also utilize the applications which are already built and offered by partners of SAP or by SAP themselves. This is the main platform for innovation for all the companies and partners and customers of SAP. It provides hybrid integration scenarios. It allows data to be deployed and used on the cloud. And it also powered by the open source technologies, including machine learning. The BTP has four major areas of focus. The first is database and data management, where they allow complete data management via their predominantly used database called HANA and HANA Cloud. There are data intelligence technologies. You can also utilize SAP Master Data Governance in BTP. The second aspect here is analytics. You can utilize SAP's data warehousing solutions, so-called DataSphere, or SAP Analytics Cloud to build analytics on top of a cloud-based system. You can integrate your existing BPC, BI, or BW systems with BTP to pull out the data. Then comes this application development and integration. This is our role and the current course comes into picture. When it comes to application development, it provides all what you need from starting of your application till the last deployment and management of application, the complete set of services, runtime, and databases for you to build an end-to-end applications. That's where SAP come up with frameworks and technologies like CAP, RAP, or Business Application Studio tool, along with some of the powerful integrated services and subscriptions like Integration Suite, Extension Suite, and Process Orchestration. Finally, it also offers the existing solutions built by SAP on top of BTP, which includes SAP RPA, which is nowadays we call it as SAP Build Automation. We have SAP Conversational AI, IoT, and RUM. Our focus in this training will be typically on the development. We will learn how can we use SAP Extension Suite to utilize the powerful frameworks, tools, and technologies to build end-to-end application. So if you are a developer like me who love coding, this training is for you. If you are an administrator who would want to understand how the connections will work, how the application securities will be taken care, and how the account administration in the BTP will be managed by an administrator, this training is also going to help you. But most importantly, if you want to become a solution architect, if you want to become a BTP architect, if you want to upskill your career and double your salary in coming months, this training is certainly going to help you out to achieve your goals. Moving on, let's talk about what is cloud application programming model. That's a brief topic for today in the live demo with me today. So what is cloud application programming model? Because we are going to see a demo on top of it. So SAP Cloud Application Programming Model is a framework. What is a framework? It comes with predefined or ready-made classes, libraries, language, and tools for us to build enterprise-grade services and applications. Many a time as a developer, when you want to start building a brand new application from scratch, you may be wondering what exactly the technology can I choose? What is the correct framework I can choose? What is the right tools I can choose? What is the methodology I can choose? Is that methodology which I'm choosing is the right methodology or not? So all these things as a developer, you can actually wonder what to do. So that's where the concept of CAPM comes into picture. It offers you a predefined guided path, the golden principles of development to choose the right path and guide you to build an application which will be flexible for and adaptive to the changes in the future. The main focus here is domain. Develop the code in an agnostic way. So for example, if you today use SQL, MySQL database, and tomorrow you want to switch to HANA database, you do not need to rewrite your code. That will be the main advantage of the using of CAPM framework. Now, so we will understand today's session building a new project using CAP framework. Don't worry, I will explain the CAP in detail in unit number 11. But since it's a demo, I just need to get started with something which is easy to understand and guide you through one end-to-end life cycle. Then we will talk about how to create our application. So CAPM is basically a framework which is based on CDS or so-called core data and service. It offers different language support like Node.js and Java. It offers different libraries like CDS and CDS DK. And finally, it offers the choice of tool, which is either VS Code or Bash tool. In this demo today, we will be using the Business Application Studio tool. Now, what is Business Application Studio tool and how to set up the same? I will cover in unit number 9 in detail. But today's session, I have already set up the Bash tool for this demonstration. Now let's talk about what do we see today? What is our goal for today's episode? The goal for today's episode is basically to create a brand new project along with you. In the next 10 to 15 minutes, we will start with our development tool called Business Application Studio. We will learn how to initialize a project. And who is our client for today? Our client for today is one of the biggest retail giant in US called Super Value. I'm sure some of you are living in US. You maybe done some shopping at Super Value store. So that's our client for today. We would like to store all the invoice details of a super value orders in the cloud. And to be able to do that, we will take a help of SAP BTP and we will create a CAP project. So there to store the data, we need an entity, a database table where we store all the data. And once we are done through that, we want to expose the data of all the invoices over the service on the cloud, basically on the internet. And finally, we would like to learn how to annotate and enrich our data model to build an end-to-end application within 10 to 15 minutes. And that's where we can give the value add to super value to provide them a native cloud solution which help them to manage and view and also search the invoices. Wow, that's amazing. Having said that, I will now switch over back to my development tool. This is like our business application studio development tool. I will show you the setup of this tool in unit number 9 in detail. So you will get very comfortable with this. So don't worry about it right now. But this is like any other traditional development tool like Eclipse or SCAT, which you might have used. On the left hand side, you can create projects. You can see the project hierarchy. And on the right hand side, you can see all the code, what you write. As I mentioned, we are living in 21st century. The time is gone when you used to write every part of application manually by yourself. But now in this modern world, we have modern tools which helps you to speed up your development. And that's where we have the concept of the PaaS tool. So also when it comes to building an application, every time you used to write every part, every folder of an application by yourself. But the CAP framework is going to help us here. So let me create a new project to go to terminal to create a new project. So a project is just like a folder where you can create all the files. So I create a new project by calling mkdir, make a new directory please, called BTP demo, and a project gets created. Superb. Now I need to initialize this project. But before that, as you see, I can't find my project on the left hand side. Yes. So I just have to go back and refresh over here. You can see now it has come. Okay. So as you build any project in the past in your company, yes, for your company, for your use cases, what did you do? We always start with database. We build our database where we create our tables, table types, structures. Then on top of it, we write all the application logic and orchestration logic. Then on top of it, these days we build the services to expose data over the internet, over the HTTP protocol. And finally, on top, you build the user interface to expose the data to the UI where user will be using your application. This is what you typically do as a developer yourself manually. If I say all of this work can be done quickly with a click of a button, that will be amazing. And that's where the real power of CAP framework comes into picture. So CAP gives us the libraries, tools, and commands through which we can quickly generate most of the application code. So let me go back and use CDS init. And you see a project gets initialized out of the box. Wow, that's amazing. So this is how exactly you can quickly create a project in the system without much effort. That's that's pretty cool. So a project gets initialized, and when you analyze the project content, what you will find actually, the project actually has all the necessary components which you need to run a real application. For example, you can see it has got the database, it has got the service, and it has got the UI, which is application. These folders got created automatically with the click of a button. Wow. Now I begin to create a database table. So I go inside and I create a new file called data model.cds. So CDS stands for core data and services. I'm going to explain about this in unit 11 in detail, but every file must end with .cds in these kind of projects. So now I right click and say open with the graphical editor because I would like to build a database table. So I want to introduce you to the low code, no code option where you don't have to write too much of code to be able to create a table. Of course, you can do coding, but our goal will be to write less code and do more. So now I create an entity, which is nothing but a database table. I give this entity name, let's say supermarket orders. And now I start adding my database table definition. Nice. So I can double click and start adding my columns. So ultimately, I would need to design a table which can store the data which I've received from super value store. So you can see we need invoice numbers. So let's put that. This should be a key. Let's say type is string. Then I add one more column. Next column, I want the branch. Then next column, I want the city, customer type, product type which was sold in this invoice, price, quantity, total, price, quantity, total. By the way, this is the demo data I've got from the store. So price will be in decimals. So I'm going to choose decimals, 52. Total amount, this will be integer quantity, and the total amount will be decimal again. 10 to. Nice. We are good. And what we are going to do is we are now going to go ahead and save this. Oops, something has gone wrong. Let me quickly recreate. Invoice, branch, city, customer type, price, quantity, and total. And finally, the payment. So we'll have the price, which is a decimal, integer, decimal. All right, we are good. So let's save this file by just pressing the Control S, and the file is saved. So what is the next step? After the step of defining our entity, so you see all the changes are lost if you load another entity. I say cancel. I need to save before we just proceed further. So you have to click the OK button, and now you see the table is created. You can of course create a complex data model. In the coming episodes, I will show you the same later point of time. We will build multiple tables and we'll learn about association. Now this is the low code, no code approach. The same can be developed by writing the code, which you will also learn in coming episodes. Indeed, I will also enrich this with additional information called title. And I will put here the title, let's say branch, the description basically for my columns of the table, city, customer type. This is the semantic information about the fields. My promise will be low code, no code, also no copy paste of code. In this whole training, I will not do any copy paste of code. I will not show you any ready-made examples. Rather, I will build everything at front of you. Most of the trainers you see, they will just bring in a ready-made code. They just explain the code and run away. That's not the way of learning. That way you will not learn everything from scratch. So I will add all the details now. And this is basically an annotation. I will talk about annotation in unit number 12 in detail. But for now, this is the definition of my table. Fantastic. Our next step will be to proceed further and also create a service. So a service is a way to expose the data over the internet. So let's create a service. I can just go to create a new file and let's call service.cds. You can also create a service by going to this option called Project Explorer, where you can actually see your project definition and all the artifacts related to project. So you can also right click and say create a service entity. This way, the system also create the code automatically, the basic skeleton code automatically. You can see now here we have got the service and I can add my entity over here to that. But I don't want to do that. I go back and just add the service over here. And first of all, I will import the data model which we just created. So we say using, and in my DB folder, I have a data model, and let's import that as Anubhav. Or we can just check here the namespace. Let me put a namespace here, and I give a namespace called btp.demo, or let me give it as Anubhav, no problem. So now I go back and just choose Anubhav as my namespace, and I will say I would like to do a define a service entity. So let's call this entity as invoices, invoice set, and we will say Anubhav dot my database table supermarket orders. Superb. That's awesome. Now, in order to run this application, so I can show you that it is working in real time, I need also some test data. So SAP understand the need of a developer, and what they say, you in order to test your entire application, service, and table, you can load the demo data. And for that, you don't need to write an extra code. Our CAPM framework will help you. So what you got to do is just create another folder called CSV, and simply just drag and drop your data file from your computer to your CSV folder, and rename this file once you bring in to the same name as the table name with the namespace. So I'm going to go back and I say Anubhav dash the table name. Makes sense. So once you do that, once you follow this naming convention, computer will automatically import all the data to your database table. Now, in order to run this project, we need to do a couple of things. So we need to first go to the project directory, BTP demo. And now I'm inside the project directory. The next step is I need to do npm install, which is a command to bring in all the required necessary modules downloaded to my project. I will talk about this in the basics of Node.js. You don't need to have any prior knowledge on Node.js or Java. In this training, I will be covering the basics for you also. On top, next step is we need to do CDS deploy to SQLite. SQLite is basically a lightweight database which is created in your local computer for testing and demonstration purpose. So we deploy our table to a lightweight database called SQLite, which is already added to your project by CAP framework. And finally, we can say CDS run to start our project. Wow. And you can see the project is ready and started. I can just launch my project now in another window. And what I see is a Fiori app preview for all the invoices which we have in our store super value. I can add the columns. These are the columns, if you remember, we created in our entity, and I can see all the data. Wow, that's amazing. And you can see within just 20 minutes, you are able to build an end-to-end application which is mobile ready in the cloud in no time. Imagine what will the next 40-hour training do to your career. You can build amazing solutions for your company, extend their existing solutions, and all through with the security and the best practices and gold standards of building applications in BTP Cloud. You become one of the go-to person for your manager and for your company on BTP topic. Now I can also add filter. Maybe I want to filter by city, and let me enter city as let's say Miami. And voila, you can see it does the search. Superb. You automatically get an option to change the table layout, setting of the table, and also Excel export. All this comes out of the box. So this is how we can build within just 10 to 20 minutes in application out of the box with the help of Business Application Studio and Cloud Application Programming Model. I know some of the things conceptually not clear, but at least you get an overview of what exactly you expect in the going forward classes and how do we be building the solutions in the BTP cloud with Business Application Studio tool. Now coming to some of the frequently asked questions. So the first question here, do I need to have any prior knowledge on BTP or Cloud Foundry? No, this training itself is to make you comfortable with BTP. We will cover all the concepts of Cloud Foundry and SAP BTP Foundation for you in this training. You can be absolute college fresher out of college without any prior knowledge. You will be able to learn with us end to end. How much Java and Node.js knowledge is required to learn BTP? So you don't need to have any Java or Node.js knowledge required. I will teach you both of these technologies. Even you are a college fresher, only basic programming skills are required for you, which could be any programming CE or ABAP. If you worked with, that's well and good. You need to have basic knowledge of data structure, any programming language, the basic programming construct and basic knowledge of SAP. That's all. We will cover the Java and Node.js along with the frameworks and tools for you in this training. So you will become absolutely from zero to hero. I'm an ABAP consultant. Can I learn BTP? Yes, and you must learn it because all the future projects coming in your company on your way or all the cloud projects, they would all need you to learn BTP. Even an ABAP developer need to learn BTP and these technologies to justify better what type of technology solution we can use for our company. How much of deep knowledge of BAS is required? No prior experience on Business Application Studio, no prior experience on any tool is required. I will teach you how to set up the BAS tool and how to set up the required tools for this training. It is part of your training. So what about server access? So guys, the good news is SAP is providing a free SAP BTP trial server access. Yes, for 90 days, and we can utilize that for this training. You don't need to have any prior knowledge on SAP BTP or any other server access. We will be requiring BTP server and that will be free. And I will show you in the next class how to set up your free BTP account. It's part of your training tomorrow. Do we also cover cloud connector and application security in this training, Anubhav? Yes, we will cover the concept of connectivity, service, understanding destination service, different microservices, the backing service concept, along with cloud security, which includes access UAA, managed app router, HTML5 repository, etc. We will cover all the concepts of backing services, service keys, and how do you utilize the general BTP services even outside. How much of this core we will spend time on CAPM? Because my main goal is to learn CAPM. So over more than 50% time will spend on CAPM framework. Remaining 50% will be account setup, administration, Spring, Java-based development, security, yes, HTML5 application, Fury integration, different integration scenarios, destination creation, lot of other topics around that, CI/CD pipeline, they are there, which we will need to also do. Do I need any prior knowledge on OData or OData services? No. You don't need any prior knowledge on OData. I will cover the basics of OData for you as part of the training. So can I also take this course in video mode if the timing doesn't suit me? Yes, certainly you can take this training also in the video mode in case you are not comfortable to join on the regular classes on a regular time. What tools do we need to learn this course? So as I told you, we will need BAS, VS Code and CLI. These three tools we will need apart from the basic concepts, which I will cover in the next class. So tomorrow we have the session at the same time where we will cover these topics for you to get started. Finally, last but not the least, how do I join this course? To join this course, you can email us on contact@anubhavtrainings.com. Please note down the email ID carefully. You can also find it in the description of this video, and then you can accordingly join this class. Having said that, it comes to the wrap of this demo session. Once again, thank you so much today for taking your time for this live demo session on SAP Business Technology Platform new batch. I hope to see you in my next episode tomorrow at the same time. Have a nice day. Goodbye.